Alright, numbers 5 and 6 for this next video here. There's an x to the fourth, so I'm going to treat it as if I see this. X squared plus 8x plus 15. Now if I just saw that, that'd be an easy x method problem. What two numbers multiply to 15 and add up to 8? Well, that's 5 and 3. So it'd be x plus 5, x plus 3. I'm going to do the same thing over here. The only problem is, ladies and gentlemen, I have x to the fourth. So that means instead of using x like I did here and here, I'm going to use x squared. But what two numbers multiply to 15 and add up to 8? Well, it's 5. It's a 3. Okay. Now, neither one of those can continue to be factored, so I'm going to set each of those equal to 0. And I get, let's see here, subtract. X squared equals negative 5. And x squared equals negative 3. Now here's a problem, ladies and gentlemen. We have to square root both sides. And when we do this, we can't take the square root of negative numbers, so we're going to come up with imaginary numbers, or we're going to have to use I. So x is equal to plus or minus, and you have to remember the plus or minus. If this is the same thing as negative 1 times 5, the square root of negative 1 is I, and the square root of 5 is the square root of 5. So those are your first two zeros that we just found. Over here, this would be like square root of negative 1 times 3. So x is going to equal plus or minus the square root of negative 1 is I, and the square root of 3 is the square root of 3. So those are my 4 solutions to that one problem. Okay. Let me slide to the right. All right. Another fun one here. I enjoy this problem. Very similarly, if you saw x squared minus 4x minus 12, well, you do the x method. You'd say, what two numbers multiply negative 12 and add up to negative 4? That would be 6 and 2, but you'd say, no, make that 6 negative, and I would say you're correct. So instead of x minus 6 and x plus 2, here we have to do x squared minus 6 and x squared plus 2. All right, and that's how we start that off. Now, neither one of those can continue to be factored. They're not differences of two squares. They're just quads that can't factor. So we have x squared minus 6 equals 0, and x squared plus 2 equals 0. You set them each equal to 0. Add 6, x squared equals 6. And this is a good example. When you take the square root here, once again, you're going to get plus or minus, but there's no I. This is a positive here, so it's just going to be plus or minus root 6. Those are two solutions. Now here, when we subtract 2 from each side, we get x squared equals negative 2. When you square root here and here, we still get plus or minus, but this is the same thing as negative 1 times 2. So we get I root 2. Not you, I root 2. All right, thank you very much. One more video coming.